Welcome to another episode, everyone. Snoop Doggy Dogg accused of stealing Nate Dogg's masters. Nate Dogg's son says that Snoop Dogg, as soon as Nate Dogg died, went and took his masters, didn't give him any money, has not given his family any money, and this is wrong because Snoop is supposed to be Nate Dogg's boy. No wonder Nate Dogg left death row. And as soon as Pac died, Tupac, Snoop went to Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. As soon as he got into it with Suge, he went over there with Master P. Snoop has a history of this sort of stuff of not necessarily being loyal. And now we have a situation where there's some sort of proof that he has taken Nate Dogg's masters and tried to take Daz, his cousin, Daz Dillinger's masters. Check this out.
There's a report that you have 500 Nate Dogg's songs.
Yeah, there was a report that Snoop had that she, pretty much showed him.
He looked like Nate Dogg too. Look, that's Nate Dogg's son. He looked like him.
Where the masters were, however this occurred, and he left with the masters.
I kicked off of death row again from Snoop. Did a show and didn't take me, so I figured like, why what's going on? He's just like, you ain't sign your catalog over to me.
Snoop Dogg's image has been on a crazy roller coaster over the years. He's been called everything from a chronic liar to a traitor, and now he's back in the spotlight again. This time getting called out by the son of the...
He told his cousin, that was Daz Dillinger. Snoop didn't take me on the show with him. Yeah, why you ain't take me? Man, you need to sign your catalog over to me. My whole catalog? Damn, you want all my money? You want everything? You want my whole career? Nate Dogg helped Snoop Dogg build his brand. And as soon as he passes away, you go take his masters, allegedly.
Legendary Nate Dogg. And in this latest chapter, Snoop is being labeled something even heavier, a thief.
When my daddy got sick, my uncle placed the masters at my grandma's house.
Gotcha.
He wasn't aware that Snoop went to my grandma's house and got the masters.
Right now, the media is flooded with claims that Snoop allegedly took Nate Dogg's master recordings without approval, and the story just keeps getting wilder with every new detail. So, let's get into it. Nate Dogg passed away in 2011 after complications from multiple strokes. And when you look at his career, he didn't just leave behind memories, he left behind a real catalog. For most of his run, Nate was signed to Death Row Records, and he's widely respected as a straight-up West Coast legend. And he also had a successful mainstream career. He landed a #1 song with 50 Cent, had 3 top 10 hits, and placed around 18 songs on the Billboard Hot 100. That's not light work. That's the kind of catalog that's supposed to feed your family long after you're gone. But according to Nate Dogg's family, that's not how things played out. Instead of his music becoming a steady source of income for his kids and loved ones, everything turned into a mess. Now, the first big issue is that Nate has 9 children, and none of them really trust each other. Everybody wants a piece of the estate, everybody feels entitled, and nobody can agree on anything. Because of that, the courts had to step in and appoint someone to make decisions, since the family couldn't come together on their own.
And it said you had, Nate had 4 kids. But then when we keep reading, we keep seeing it's 9.
Yeah,
so I don't know what's what.
It's about 9 of us. We don't all agree, and I've tried to get everybody to agree. And when everybody don't agree, then everybody got attorneys. You know what the result is.
Everybody wasting money.
On top of that, Nate has multiple baby mamas, and they're all filing child support claims against the estate. So now you've got different households
Yeah, see, that's the same thing sort of happened with Tupac Shakur. When he passed away, rest in peace to Tupac, rest in peace to Nate Dogg, but individuals were coming after their estate, coming after Tupac's estate. People were suing him for various reasons and thus suing the estate since Tupac was no longer alive. And we see here individuals are people coming after Nate Dogg's estate, but the family has 9 kids. Okay, that's it. But you can have however many kids you want, as long as you're taking care of them. And I'm sure he was taking care of them. He was making money, but they don't agree. They all went and got attorneys. These attorneys cost money. He ain't got that much damn money. He got a little something. I mean, y'all are losing a lot of money with these attorneys, but with 9 people, maybe if it was 3, 4, even 5, maybe they can all eventually agree. But 9 people, you're going to have some dissenters. And that, the mothers want child support. They're filing claims against the estate. Someone dies, and if you don't have your will in order, then the whole family goes into chaos, often trying to split whatever it is that the individual had.
From the same pot, legal paperwork piling up, and no real structure in place. When a family is this disorganized, it becomes easy for outsiders to get involved and start making moves. Nothing's centralized, nothing's locked down. And while all this is dragging out, money is quietly disappearing. Lawyers are getting paid, filing fees are stacking up. Everyone involved has their hand out. And by the time the family finally sees a check, there's a good chance most of it will already be gone. Legal fees alone can eat an estate alive, especially when everybody is fighting everybody.
And they answering calls, dog.
Listen,
$250 an hour.
Listen,
You hear me?
they killing
Hey
y'all.
man, I know. I'm the only one that sit back. I got this shit in my living room right now on my table. I can just pick this up and I'm seeing everything we being charged for, and it's crazy.
Oh no, it's maddening.
So now fast forward to another layer of the story, unreleased music. Apparently, Nate Dogg has over 500 unreleased songs sitting somewhere, including collaborations with artists like Eminem, Warren G, and others. That's potentially millions of dollars just sitting in limbo. If those records were organized and released properly, that alone could change the financial situation for his entire family. And that's where things start getting even more complicated, because this is when the conversation shifts towards Snoop Dogg. According to Nate Dogg's son, Hale Jr., when Nate became seriously ill before his death, his uncle took responsibility for storing Nate's master recordings. He placed them at their grandmother's house for safekeeping. At some point after that, Snoop allegedly came by. The story goes that Snoop got permission from the grandmother to retrieve the masters. She supposedly showed him where they were kept, and Snoop left with them.
So there's a report that you have 500 Nate Dogg's songs.
Yeah, there was a report that Snoop had that. Snoop, got the okay from my grandma to go to her house, and she, pretty much showed him where the masters were, however this occurred, and he left with the masters.
Here's the problem. The uncle who originally stored those masters says nobody told him any of this happened. So now there's confusion, anger, and accusations flying around inside the family. Hale Jr. says his uncle is standing firm on this and fully believes Snoop took the masters. And apparently, the uncle has been wilding over it, ready to risk it all behind this situation. It's gotten that serious.
My uncle, when my daddy got sick, my uncle placed the masters at my grandma's house.
Gotcha.
He wasn't aware that Snoop went to my grandma's house and got the masters.
Things even boiled over publicly at one point. Hale Jr.
crazy.
and his uncle had a heated
Snoop, all of this, of course, is just alleged. I don't know what the hell happened here. That's Nate Dogg's son talking. If it is true, then that's cold-blooded. I don't know why the grandmother would give them up. They put them in your house for a reason, for safekeeping. Let's take this to grandma's house, and nobody will get them over there. And take them over there. How does Snoop Dogg even find out that that's where they are at? He finds out and goes over there, and according to what we're hearing here, he walks away with the masters from grandma's house. Damn. And Nate Dogg has 500 unreleased songs. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That can set the family straight for life. If they can stop fighting, get it together, and get these damn songs, get these masters, and get it released. 2011, he passed away. You might want to go ahead and release the songs.
confrontation at a Warren G show, right in front of a bunch of people. After that, they stopped speaking altogether. To make it even messier, Hale Jr. says the grandmother backs up the uncle's version of events, although he admits he hasn't personally sat her down to confirm every detail. Hale Jr. also says Snoop has consistently denied everything. Snoop allegedly told him directly that he doesn't have the masters and would never do something like that. And despite all these accusations being thrown around, Hale Jr. is careful with how he frames it. He makes it clear that he still wants to protect his relationship with Snoop. So whenever he talks about it publicly, he immediately creates distance, saying this is coming from his uncle and grandmother, not from him personally. Basically, he's repeating what he's been told, but he's not trying to directly put Snoop on blast.
I don't know what's what, but I'm just sharing what's out there and what's what I'm being told. And what Snoop has always told me is, you know, he don't got it and he don't know you, and he would never do something like that.
Now, fans can't help but raise an eyebrow at how Snoop Dogg keeps finding himself wrapped up in controversy. Even Snoop has flat out denied having anything to do with it.
So where they at? If Snoop Dogg doesn't have the masters, who has them? I mean, I don't know. I don't know that he has them. But if he doesn't, then who has them? Everybody lying about it? This makes no sense. The grandmother doesn't have them. The uncle doesn't have them. Snoop Dogg doesn't have them. And so since this has happened and no one wants to admit to having the masters, the songs have went unreleased, because then someone has to say, I'm the one releasing the songs. I have the masters. I have his unreleased music. I have everything. I have his catalog. Somebody has them. And because no one wants to admit it, no one is making any money off of Nate Dogg. And he's been deceased for 15 years now, since 2011. This makes no sense. What are the grandmother and uncle saying? They saying that it's true that Snoop came in there and got it. And Nate Dogg's son is trying to distance him. So I don't know. Well, somebody got the masters. They just made up this story that Snoop came over there and walked out with them. I guess that's possible. That means that they have them then. But what are they doing with them? Where are the damn masters?
But here's the problem. This isn't the first time Snoop's name has come up in situations involving catalogs, ownership, and artists feeling pushed aside. Recently, Snoop's cousin, Daz Dillinger, went public with some serious allegations. Daz appeared on the Punchline Academy and accused Snoop of forcing him out of Death Row Records after Daz refused to sign over his publishing catalog. According to Daz, once he said no, everything shifted. He claims Snoop froze him out, stopped inviting him to shows, and made it clear that staying in the Death Row circle depended on surrendering ownership. In Daz's words, Snoop wanted the catalog, and Daz wasn't willing to give it up because that catalog was simply worth too much.
And then I got kicked off of Death Row again from Snoop. Got into it. Me and Snoop, it's my cousin. We get into it all the time. He kicked me off. So, I ain't going back this time.
Yeah, you're going.
He did a show and didn't take me, so I figured, like, why you, what's going on? He's just like, you ain't sign your catalog over to me. And I'm like, I'm keeping it, you know what I'm saying? It's worth a lot.
To really understand why Daz feels this deeply about it, you have to rewind all the way back to the early 90s.
Damn.
Daz signed to Death Row in 1992 when he was just 19 years old.
That's your
He
cousin,
had no
Snoop.
formal production training, no industry pedigree, just raw talent and hustle. Dr. Dre saw something special in him and personally mentored him during the sessions for The Chronic. That mentorship changed Daz's life. Within about a year, Daz was producing tracks on his own, no longer needing Dre to hold his hand. And here's the part a lot of people don't realize. Daz wasn't just some background producer hanging around the studio. He was one of the pillars of Death Row's sound. Suge Knight himself once said that Daz pretty much handled most of the production on Snoop's 1993 debut album, Doggy Style. That album went quadruple platinum and became one of the most iconic West Coast releases ever. That alone tells you how central Daz really was. His fingerprints are also all over Tupac Shakur's All Eyes on Me. 5 tracks came from Daz's production, including 2 of America's Most Wanted and Ambition's Azarita. And production wasn't even his only contribution. Daz was also one half of Thaw Dog Pound alongside Corrupt. Their album Dog Food debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 in 1995. That meant Daz was essential to Death Row both behind the boards and on the mic. At its peak, Death Row was a monster, reportedly generating over $100 million a year. But the empire started cracking after Tupac's murder in September 1996 and Suge Knight's imprisonment in 1997. From there, it was a slow collapse. By April 4th, 2006, Death Row officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The numbers were brutal. More than $137 million in debt against only about $4 million in assets. Completely underwater, the artists who built the label were left empty-handed. Later reports showed that Snoop was owed roughly $2 million, Nate Dogg about $5 million, and Dr. Dre around $8 million from those original contracts. Nobody walked away whole. Daz had already lived this reality.
One of the biggest collapse in music history. $137 million in debt. Death Row. All of these spectacular artists that they had could have been $1 billion company, should have been $1 billion company, the first $1 billion record company. Instead, they had to file for bankruptcy 10 years after Tupac's death. In 2006, they had to file for bankruptcy after having Dr. Dre as an artist. Snoop Dogg, Tupac, makes no sense.
Long before Snoop ever bought the label. Back in 2001, he sued Suge Knight for over $1 million in unpaid royalties. So when he talks about being robbed of his work, this isn't speculation. This has been his life for decades. After bankruptcy, Death Row bounced between owners in ways that almost sound unreal. Wide Awake Entertainment bought it at auction in 2009 for $18 million. Then, they went bankrupt too. The label changed hands multiple times until it eventually landed with MNRK Music Group under Blackstone's control. Industry insiders later estimated the total valuation at around $50 million. But when Snoop finally acquired Death Row, the deal wasn't what many fans assumed. Dr. Dre's attorney quickly clarified that Dre still owned 100% of the Chronic after Snoop initially appeared to suggest otherwise. Tupac's albums had already reverted to his estate on January 1st, 2022, meaning those weren't included either.
Chronic is already going back to Dr. Dre. Tupac took all his greatest hits album, all his albums, all his back over to Amaru. So what is left on Death Row?
Before the sale, Death Row's catalog was reportedly bringing in about $15 million annually. But without Tupac and Dre's albums, Billboard estimated the remaining catalog was closer to $6 million a year. Still significant money, just nowhere near what people thought Snoop had bought. When Snoop took over, he made big promises. According to Daz, Snoop told everyone he was going to give artists back their publishing. But Daz says that promise never materialized.
Do you own anything over there, or do you write
Publishing. My publishing and my rights and all that other type of stuff. It's like he said, I'm gonna give everybody back their publishing. You lie. You ain't paid nobody since day one.
By December 2025, Daz decided to take his grievances public in a major way. He posted videos on YouTube and Instagram, laying out explosive allegations against his own cousin. At the center of it all was royalties. Daz claims Snoop hasn't paid Death Row artists since acquiring the label and has instead been using artist royalties to cover staff salaries. He even alleges that those staff members are making more money than the artists who actually created the music. Then, the accusations get even heavier. Daz says Snoop forged signatures on paperwork to take control of his Death Row era material. Another flashpoint is the Thaw Dog Pound paw print logo. Daz claims Snoop tried to trademark it without permission, despite the logo being registered in Daz's name. He compared its value to the Apple logo, which tells you just how serious he is about protecting it.
The money makers, the paw is like the Apple sign, like a.
Everyone, these individuals are cousins. Daz and Snoop Dogg are cousins, and Daz is also here accusing Snoop Dogg of trying to usurp his masters, his catalog, that he has to sign them over in order to continue to be a part of Death Row. And Daz is here exposing him. We remember when these individuals got into it a few months back, but they're cousins. And Snoop Dogg made some comments as well, made some videos coming at his cousin Daz Dillinger. Snoop Dogg's son came at Daz Dillinger. So they have a lot going on. But there you have it. I'm interested to know what you all think in the comments, because you had Nate Dogg's son appearing to say that, like he believed it, that his grandmother and uncle, but he hasn't sat down and spoke with her himself personally about the issue. I don't know why. It's been 15 years. Trying to get to the bottom of where the masters are at. Snoop is saying he doesn't have them, that he would never do that. But the family is saying that he does have them. Somebody has them. This is crazy. But he's trying to distance himself from it somewhat. I'm sure he still needs Snoop Dogg's help in some way. And the family can't come together, clearly, 9 siblings, and come to any sort of agreement that keep all of this stuff out of the courts and keep them from losing money with these attorneys. 15 years and nothing has been settled? That makes no sense. You living your whole life and you can't settle this situation? By the time you settle it, y'all gonna be old or something? Get out of here. Release the 500 tracks. Get your money together from those 500 tracks and go on with your life. But these individuals, this is what happened when family members pass. They can't get it together. And then, and Daz is here saying that Snoop lied about the publishing. Oh man, Snoop has been through some things. We've seen him lying about a few things, Tupac and the Nas situation, and so forth. Whether or not he's respected in the LA area as a gang member by Crips and Bloods. Perhaps you can glean the answer from some of these interviews with the people that are close to him. They're all really coming out having disparaging things to say about precious Snoop Doggy Dogg. Let me know what you think in the comments. They saying Snoop Dogg then went to Granny's house and walked away with Nate Dogg's goods when he passed away. Oh, man. And Daz is saying the same thing, that he's not going back to death row, that he's done this time, that he keep kicking him out because he won't give him his catalog, his own cousin. Is this true? What say you? Stay safe and stay free, people.